we'll write up a new one. But really, it's not really. It's really easier. What I was telling them, coming from where we used to use one word for blitz, what that is the pro approach, where we actually tell everybody exactly what to do. It's like writing a sentence. Just the first part, like field aiming, is called the 3 technique to the field and 2 tactical slant, and that's all they know. And then we go wide dogs, which means we're bringing a linebacker safety, but that doesn't matter to anybody except the coverage people. And then we tell the linebacker to run through the B gap. So field aim, wide dogs, B. Instead of using one word and everybody has to remember what they're doing, they look at their wristwatch and it tells them what to do.
So how'd that get called from the sidelines?
Dogs number 1. They look under 1. It says type A and T dogs B. It's really a lot easier than any way else I've ever done it. I actually stole it from the Cowboys when Tom Landry was there. It came through UC Davis is where I picked it up. Then Bump and I started doing it at Utah State. He liked it so much, I couldn't get him to quit blitzing. Now that's a generic. That's
what I figured. It's not a game plan. It's everything.
Yeah, a lot of it. Now, like we play Rice, Rice's will be narrowed down. There won't be a cop category where we're going to play an end on the tight end, because you're not going to do that against option teams. You're getting very. We probably call 30% of that watch. Yeah. Probably number 1 call I was telling Chuck is dogs number 3.
That is.
Field aim, wide dogs B.
Field aim, wide dogs B.
Like let's just say, for example, this is how you make. This is what the 4-2-5 for us it works.
You call Sharish.
Within our package. Okay. Double text means we're going to take the tackles going first, and since we called it double, they're going to go on both sides. Okay. Well, we want to run double smoke. They get in a 4 wideout system. We're scared to run double smoke because of the draw. So it don't matter how we're coming off the edge. So what's a great call for me? If I know they're going to be a big draw team, then on the card, when we get into the smokes category, I'm going to make one of them so I know that in 4 wideouts, we get a nickel group when we bring double safeties in. One of those is going to be double text, double smoke. Now, I didn't have to teach anybody anything new. Front already know double text. Smokes are smokes. So what happens is you got blitzes. So really what the hardest problem is to not do too much, because we're like kids in a candy store. Because you can take any front call, and we came up, there's like 157 different ways to use any of those one-word things. And then that's not counting what you could do if you brought a safety off the edge. The kicker is, when it comes down to it, and anybody's ever been like Stan Hagen, which has been the coordinator at Reno, and then he was at Vegas and been places. I mean, it's like, initially you look at it because they were a quarter, half team zone. And then you look at it, and all of a sudden he said, wow, actually, after you get said and done, this is a lot easier than what I did, and we could do more. Because front and coverage don't tie into each other. It's not like, we're used to reducing on one side, you got to roll your coverage, you got to double call things. Coverage takes care of that part. We don't mess with it.
How did coverage take care of that?
As in, well, in this case, we brought an extra safety in, so we're sitting here with. These 2 guys are already mirrored. They're both strong safeties. They play the same position. So basically, no matter what you do, even if you don't blitz, you run double text. I'm playing 2 blue or 5 on each side. One of our combinations, like 0 fiddle for us, is outside, inside. Like robber when you play man. If he runs an outside, then he's got him and he's robbing. I call it with doubles, and they play it on both sides. But that's the same call that I taught them on day 4 of 2-a-days, and they know to play it on both sides. It's not anything different about it. Like for our offense, they put in 35 formations in the first 3 days of practice, and we didn't have trouble lining up to one of them. From empty to flanker, 2 back, 2 tight end. Because the way our defense, and what I explained to them, you only have a twin side, you can have a pro side, and you can have a trip side. And that's in a 5-man secondary. That's all you have to worry about. Because in a 4-man secondary, you got to know is it single width or double width to get things around. With that extra free safety, he's going to read one side, and we're going to work the 3-on-2 wherever we think the strength is. The other side, we don't care. And it doesn't matter if that guy's there. Linebacker's just going to widen out. For us, we don't mess with it. Unless we want to flip the corner over here and either play man or play a flip corner zone. And we want, like in our scrimmage yesterday, if I want to stay place and call 2 blue sky, and I can beat you with 6 in the box and slant and do what I do, then do it. But a lot of times when people see on the board, what you need to do is we need to just turn on the film and you can look at it and see. Because then it even becomes easier. But the biggest thing is front and coverage don't have anything to do with each other unless I want them to be. For example, you want to make perfect calls. We're playing our offense. They come out in 12 personnel. 2 tight end, 1 back. Okay? I know his way of checking things, instead of checking the hots, he's going to check the option if he thinks blitz is happening. So I'm going to go, here's the field over here. I got to handle the inside zone. I'm going to go field G Army, so it's going to be a list. Here's the field, here's the 3 technique. Army, which these guys know just off that call, is number 4 on the stun category. Army, we're going to cross face, fire. Wide smoke, 0. Well, I know built in, smoke, so they run speed option. I'm handling everything with gap control here. As far as the zone is concerned, if they try to run speed option out the side, I got my quarterback player, I got my pitch player. Because this guy's slant, but the guy's always going to come to where the man is. If they come back this way, here's my extra quarterback player because he blocked. Here's my pitch player. He can't get away from me, whether it's zone or, and we like it if people try to run counter into that guy. Because a lot of times those guards and tackles can't even get to the edge guy. I could run double smoke. I could bring them off both edges if I wanted to. But now it's not as good a gap control because the linebackers got walked out.
How much you bring your corners?
Not really. We recruit those guys to cover. Now we will run a Waco when we get against teams like one back, where we'll actually cheat them down and come some. But that's not. We don't.
Don't need it.
Well, not that. We just don't. That's not what we recruited them to do. But that's how we, how we tie front and coverage together is, if, for example, if you want to cross space and you want to be radical, let's just say you're in a pro set. And I know you got 21 personnel in the game. If I want to take a 5 technique, so I'm going to lose contain, and I want to cross the face, so I'm not going to have a contain player on the backside, then I know I'm going to either have to play a sky player on that side, up, or I got to bring a guy. So if I want to do something like this, which again takes away what our offense does, as far as option-wise, it also crosses the face, so you have things broken down as far as hard run support, as far as draws and stuff. And what basically I've gone to is a double eagle, if I let this guy alone. And I can play robber covers with this, and all I call back here is, the call would be field Toro take, short smoke, 2 blue solo. We're going to play robber over here. Before when he called solo, told the corner he's going to be man. Told these 2 guys because we're man on this side, and we're bringing a safety. That 2 blue solo is just 2 blue. If I played 2 blue solo without bringing this guy, solo would just leave him back. But solo told us we're in a man concept on the backside, and we're playing zone out here. So you want to run crossing routes and do all that kind of stuff, you can.
You said 2 blue solo. How do they know to check the solo?
Well, I put it in the call. So I go short smoke because I don't talk the front. I told Mark up front, I told him field Toro take. He signals field Toro take. I go short smoke and I go 2 blue solo.
Is solo a trips check on?
Well, it's anything I want it to be, but most of the time it's a trips check. But we played a lot to 2 backs to teams that do this. split backs. But this guy knows we have to play solo if you're going to blitz him because there's no vertical guy left back here. But we'll play a lot of solo calls to two-back, split-back teams. Like our offense gets in this and runs option. So we'll play zone of the field. We want to, instead of playing squats or halves or quarters, and we'll play solo back here and leave him here. We'll go solo deep. So now you're playing robber, and so people that try to choice you and run the post, you get a deep player. Or we'll play three and play solo hole and bring the guy inside. And that holds true for anything, any formation you play. We can play that stuff like that.
So solo changes week to week, you say?
No, I just told him by call what I want him to do. Solo deep told him as soon as pass showed that he could be the deep third player. Solo hole told him if pass showed then you become the hole player. But two still stayed as two, so the reach side linebacker is still wall, vertical of three. Backside, solo, doesn't matter if this guy's out here in trips. He looks for number 2 weak to be the solo player. So whether it was trips and that back was sitting right there, or it was split backs and that back sitting right there, the wayside linebacker knows solo.
What did you just call two solo? What's the blue for?
Blue is to make sure you get in the shell look so they come out balanced. You got to be able to play against a balanced formation so they come out. Every call has to have to be able to handle double width. So 2 blue solo, you play 2 blue here. Can't play solo. We don't believe that you can play. We don't play solo to a double width formation. Solo in one back when you become trips. Well, for us, we don't ever play solo very much unless we're going to blitz if you're an I back. So we call 2 blue sky solo as a changeup. 2 reading left. We're going to play robber. Back on the backside with I backs, I gave him one choice to play sky. So he's up in the sky position. If they come out anything else, split backs or offset right here, the backside safety has the flexibility to either play blue because I gave him blue or solo, whichever one he wants to play with. We play Virginia Tech and Navy. They start with Druckenmiller and gun. So the call was tight G, 25, because this is still back here. 17, I mean run like hell. Call on the line, they're doing whatever they're doing, is 25 sky solo. When they see 6 in the box, they're going to shift up to I. First we start, so 2 reading, we got 2 reading left, playing robber, front. Wherever you want to call the front eagle, doesn't matter as far as coverage is concerned. Come on, split backs, I gave his free safety choice, the weak safety choice of playing what? 5 or solo. So early in the game I told him he's gonna take the 5 call because now we can double still back here, number 17. Okay? They shift because they see 6 in the box. They shift up. We check the sky. No one knew it except these 2 guys. That's all that matters. Now I got a better run player.
Yeah.
Now they could play action and still hurt you back there, but it's first down, and that's what now. This is what they did to us. Now it's 3rd and 10. They shift up to I, but this time I don't put the sky call on it, so I call 25 by itself. Now they shift up to I. I didn't give them the flexibility playing sky. We stayed in 5. And that's where the flexibility of up front and what you do with the 5-man, because these 3 over here, they don't give a shit what's happening back here. And these guys don't care what they're doing. It's double quarterback. Him and him are going to control the whole deal. Now you glad I came? Oh.
Why don't you take us through green?
All right.
Don't ever make green as a single call, right?
Can. Call across the board. All 3 of these can be called across the board.
Right. But you don't.
Yeah. Well, blue we will. In this case, green we will.
Okay.
Because you can handle it because of the quarters. Now, again, going back to what are the strengths? Robert covers. The strengths are force, and combination routes. Weaknesses. Robber. Number 2, vertical weak, and post corner routes. Okay? What are the strengths of quarters coverage? Because for us, we're going to bail them. Okay? Strengths of quarters coverage are 4 vertical capabilities and still safety force. Okay? So it's a combination between robber and that. Now, weaknesses. Weak side comeback routes. You're soft in the flats because you're not a hard corner. Now, same thing I was telling Willie Mack that you got to be careful of. And like all people probably mess with quarters more than they mess with anything else. Do not make it a Superman coverage. If they're running comebacks, run squats and halves. But we haven't given up a touchdown, vertical touchdown on the corners in 6 years. The reason we play inside leverage and we bail. Okay, we're going to take away the vertical and the post. The reason we get into coverage is safety force, 4 vertical capabilities. If you want to stop the out, then you play cover 5, squats and halves, or you play a safety runner underneath. But don't try to make quarters everything, because that's what happens. Pretty soon you start working the outside leverage of it, and now all of a sudden the guy's running down the middle and they're holding your safety with a choice route, and you don't have any help.
Let's just go over alignments.
Okay? Now, alignments over here, strong safety versus the twins, the same as cover 2 robber. Outside eye, 1 back, he's 5 yards off the line of scrimmage. If it's 2 back, then he's 3 to the line of scrimmage, turned inside, just like robber. No different. Free safety is splitting the difference between 2 and the tackle, just like robber. Apex. The corner, the difference between the corner and really the only difference in the coverage is that corners between this and robber is the corner is going to bail instead of running the flat right now. The strong safety is going to be a meat call. He is going to be on the snap the ball, turn, and he is going to be physical on number 2. Now again, if I was a pure zone team, I'd back these guys up to 7 yards and I'd shuffle and I'd play it. We give up some reading of number 2 with our corners for the simple reason that we play man press and we're going to do other things with it. If you play off all the way here with them, you can't do that, and we play a lot of man press in bail. Now, the reason we can play the safety outside and the free safety inside is because of what we call a me call. It is the only time the strong safety ever has to say anything pre-snap in our zone package. And what that's telling the read side corner is I have the quick out. Basically, what he's doing is telling him just like it was in robber coverage. He's telling him this guy works up the field and runs it out, I'm jumping it. That allows us, different than other people when they play quarters. When other people play quarters, they have to play the safety in here, they have to play the safety outside, wide or wide. Because number 2 runs an out, he's got to get over the top of it. We don't. So it's the same thing. Bailing, only running fast enough. Me call, the guy who works vertical, free safety has robber rules, just like we talked in cover 2. Strength of it, cover 2 we were good in the hitch in the corner because the strong safety was running the flat right now. Blue's not quite as good, but it's not bad. The difference is we're a lot better on the vertical in the dig because the strong safety is going to hit 2 in the mouth in pass shows, and then he's going to sink. So now when you get the vertical dig and you get the in call, the strong safety sitting more inside instead of being out here and having to run it from outside in. Every coverage is going to have a route progression it takes away better than what the other one does. And that's why we teach it, or don't teach it at all. If you have one that does the same thing, it doesn't do you any good.
So you're out your strong safety right there. He's going to get underneath that dig. The corner's going to play over
Still
top.
going to hear in, you're just farther in instead of running the flat and working inside.
Right.
So obviously now, read side linebacker is what? Kyle? Everything. Yeah, and everything. He is vertical 3, right? Middle drop. So now 3 works wide, he widens his wall. Strong safety's job to hold it off. Working here. Free safety's running with the vertical. Now again, I will tell you, the way to beat quarters and to beat robber is to run vertical and dig. We got this is how many times we got vertical and dig this year. And 3 of them came in the East Carolina game. Why? because they still got to put up with the threat of this guy coming off the edge, and it's hard to throw a vertical in a dig at 15 yards when there's 4 coming off the side.
But that corner is staying with that dig over the top.
Well, he is man-to-man clue again, inside half. He is the same thing as he was in Robert. That's, again, there's carryover as far as learning responsibility. The only difference is he's in a position now to turn up here if we were playing man press, or if we were bailing in zero, but now he's closer to the line of scrimmage, or we're playing spots and halves. In all honesty, if we wanted to, we could play cover 2 bail. If we wanted to play Robert, all I'd have to do is add the word bail, and everything would be from right up here.
It's showing that.
Showing.
But before the snap of the ball, he's going to bail out of there with open hips. And
Well, here's what bail means. Bail doesn't mean get out. It means a technique. If the ball was in there and you were the wide receiver, and this came about because we didn't have fast enough corners. What happens is, if you stand up, what happens with most people when they get beat? Why people start going to some bails? Because where do you get beat? Transition. In your hips. So now, here's bail. Snap the ball, I'm about 3 yards. The ball snaps, I'm going to shuffle. What I want to do is, I want to make you run into me. Okay? Because if I'm 4'6" and you're 4'4", I don't have a chance if we're both at full speed. Because more likely, you still have your other gear. So what I want to do, as you come off, is I want to make you run into me. So you got to do what? You got to go around. I just keep getting in your way. That's how we play bail coverage. And if they get too fast, is when we get beat. Because just like an off man, if you don't let them break your cushion and they stay too far away from you, they can do anything to you. That's why even our slower players like to play press, because you're only going to see 2 routes. Fade, slant. In third and medium, we ran man coverage this last year 12 times. They were 0 for 12 in third and medium against us. We were 12 for 12. The only problem is you got to understand this. When you play press coverage, your interception is going to go down unless you've got a lot better players, because you're not going to be able to cover and make plays. And that's one of the things I think happened. We didn't make a lot early, but percentage was down. Now in blue coverage, so here you have it. Bail, you know what the technique is now. Strong, we already said it.
Go back to the strong a second.
Sure.
I'm wondering if what he's talking about is an arrow rule, what we call an arrow rule. If you get an out and up, is he with him?
Yes. But the difference is, what did the free safety say in robber coverage? When the guy ran an out route?
He said wheel.
Wheel. Okay? Saying the same thing here. Okay? The difference, we want the me to be enacted if he does this. And then he runs up. But as soon as this guy says free, remember what wheel means. Means doesn't mean you got a deep route. It means there's an number 2 is outside and you've got curl post help. So now the corner, if you got a wheel real fast, he gets a wheel, he can come off real quick because he knows who's going where. He's either robbing the curl or he's going to post. He's going to take care of number 1. And that's what it means here. The only difference is from a bail alignment, we play this for one reason. We want this guy to be able to play the run. Everything we set up except cover 5 is to get 2 safeties to run instead of 1. If you got to play this guy in here and play this guy back, you're only going to get 1 guy. And that's the same reason why our me rule is not enacted when the guy runs a wheel route, when he starts in a wheel progression instead of an out and up. It's because we don't want the same thing to happen with what I told you in robber coverage. Guys playing outside, now I widen, now they're running the football. And the corner can see that very easily because he's hearing it also. Want to get 2 guys playing the run, forcing, instead of 1 guy, strong safety playing inside playing the run. A high-low guy instead of just a low guy.
Strong safeties force free safeties out.
Against the Twins, still pitch, still quarterback.
So once again, you get the out and up. I mean, or the
Out and up with this, he will be running with him, and so will probably he.
free safety going to say wheel,
Yep.
same as he did in Robert.
Same as he did in Robert,
So
same
even
as
though
he's
I'm
going
running with it,
and the same as he's going to say in
In
squad
Robert, I had
halves.
a number 3 wheel.
Huh?
Robert, I had a number 3 wheel rule.
Yep. Swing deep.
Swing deep.
And still the same.
Right. But here I'm swinging deep with 2.
And if he jumps with the out. Now, if you're going to ask me how many times have I ever seen him do this, and this guy did this, your old alma mater is the only one I have in 12 years. Villanova tried to do it to us.
Or like a trail.
Yeah. So what did we do? We went away from playing blue, so then we had Robert, we had swing deep at 3 handle by the strong safety. But it didn't look real well against blitz. Now, going ahead and staying with the reach side for formation, because I showed you a twins alignment. Now, again, the second alignment you can have is a pro set. Now, we're going to come inside. Now, what you're getting now, by coverage, you have now created a 4-3 look. However you want to put the eagle, it makes no difference. Whether you want to put split, field, boundary.
What do you got that strong safety as he?
The way we're playing this spring, because we're rereading that fullback, because arc, if it's 2 back, we're playing him on the line of scrimmage. If it's 1 back, we're playing him a hip at the ends depth. The other reason I like him on the line of scrimmage too is that they think it's blitz, or at least they don't know it's not. Now, because it's a 4-3 concept,
Okay, so a 2 back is he's not a tight 9. He's what we talked.
me, I would leave it teaching it first. I'd teach it how you want to teach it. I'd either teach him as a hip, and as far as run reads and everything and overlap, it's better because he's back.
Teach it like power.
No, because the power we actually play on the line of scrimmage with it. I play him back in hips, so you give him as an overlap player.
2 back.
Whether it's 2 back or 1, whether it's 2 back or 1 back, I'd play him right there. Basically, what he does, he's going to line up on the outside foot of the end. Again, we could play it blast and play it where it looked like a 4-3. I didn't recruit a guy that could be a C-gap player. I recruited a guy that could be an overlap player. He's faster, not as big to hang, especially against 2-back teams.
Man, are you read there?
We're still a me call. And we're read for 2-back. You mean as far as reading? Yeah.
Run support.
Now the way it is, spill, quarterback, unpitch. Same thing will be back here. He is 3 by 10, 8 depending on whatever he gets pre-snap from the front. Weak safety, and I'm going to draw him up right now because it's the same thing.
What depth you
Yes.
playing that free safety at?
10, 8 to 10 depending on
2 by 10?
3.
3?
Again, that comes back to down and distance, personnel, game plan, however, but that's 3 by 10 is what we start off when we teach the coverage.
The strong safety's always spilling. On a down block,
And,
Read support.
just regular read support.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
basically, if they run 1-back zone, he's the cutback player. But you have an extra guy over here, however you want to do it. He's the extra guy comparably over here, which is people aren't going over here against us. Again, a loose cog, moving to a 40, 3 by 10 weak safety. No difference as the free safety. Again, a pro look side, alignment's just the same.
What's the support over there on that?
Force, pitch,
He's got.
pitch. Again, what is the strengths of the defense? 4 vertical capabilities and safety force. 4 verticals as far as the corners and the weak, because they're vertical at number 2s.
And still both those safeties flat footing.
Yep, shuffle just like Robert. Only difference their alignment. They're not in on the guard. They're out here 3 by 10.
How about the inside backers?
Inside backer and coverage. Their alignment as far as the front is gap control depending on the front call. Coverage wise, now this just take away the Sam and the Mike, read side linebackers, middle drop, vertical at 3. Same as he was. Same he's going to be in all 3 of these coverages. Now, the wayside guy is what we call slice. Ever heard that before, have you? What slice means is, when we tell him slice in blue coverage, is that he now has to have leverage on the curl because you have a chance of both guys getting run out. So if anything across the field, he has leverage on anything from the inside out. He works across because if this guy sits up at 10, the safety's sitting on him and playing the curl. He has the inside route. The wayside dropper has two coverage techniques, that's it. He's either a wall in cover 2 and cover 5, or he's a slice in blue, that is it.
How about tight end straight to the flat?
Wheel call, corner comes off, safety's over the top. He does the same thing the free safety does, we just don't have a me call.
Kind of playing that like read a little bit.
It is read, and like I told you, what is the weakness of the coverage? Weak side flat, whether it's a comeback route or here, because you're bailing, you're soft.
So the way backers playing curl leverage 3.
Yep. No vertical responsibility, but in a lot of cases, he'd be the same as the strong safety, except he doesn't play me. He's swing deep to 3 also. It's mirrored again. It's mirrored because the linebacker down the middle is middle drop, vertical 3. Everybody else plays out of it.
Now, Gary, before you erase it, say, leave it there a second.
Okay?
Say you got zone to the defense's left, boot right.
Here,
Yeah.
he squeezed down the drag. He sets, because the guy blocks, he's gone. He drives back on the arrow route. It becomes a man-inclusive situation.
Okay. Other way.
In fact, you get a chance to see that on the other way. He blocks, the me player jumps it. Free safety's robber coverage, just like we taught him in robber coverage he has across the board. This guy should read it and also be squeezing to it. Linebacker, because it started this way now, again, has swing deep to 3, which
Okay. You got green called across the board.
yes, sir.
You're going to get a nub tight end.
Sky. Corners
Well,
on.
even with a single green, you're going to say green sky.
Don't have to. If I wouldn't say anything to my guys, they would know the corner don't need to be up against tiebacks. They would sky that back there. We train safeties to be force players. We train corners to be deep players. But most of the time, with me, with a 2-back set, I'm going to make a sky call with anything that we do, if I want a safety to be up.
Knowles, what was that story you were telling about Pete Noyes? Marker?
I got it all over.
Got it all over your nose.
That's not new. So you'd have blue over here, you'd play quarters, and you'd have a sky call on the backside. Again,
Okay, so that, that's, I like that because you're getting the same people doing the same thing on the backside. Now,
and here's the other kicker to this. Always going to robber covers with motion in 2-back. You're already in a sky progression. So here, check sky, 2 reading right. Coming back to the
can I
guard.
say that again? Single call, always going to robber.
In 2-back sets, with change of strength motion, COS, we're always going to go back to robber coverage, and this is why we do it. If we're in zone, we go back for 2 reasons. They're either running combination routes or they're running football.
Okay. Let me just talk out loud here and just tell me if I'm right or wrong. You just got 2 called, okay?
Yep,
Obviously, they motion, you're going robber to robber.
yep.
You just got blue called. Obviously, they're motion, you're going robber to, you're going blue.
Going to robber.
Blue to robber. You got 5 called.
Going to
Okay.
robber.
Now, how about if you have 2 blue sky?
Mm-hmm.
Still going to 2, right? Because you're going reading left
Doesn't
and reading
matter.
right.
I mean, the thing you just forgot is that 2 didn't care it was in blue back here anyway.
Okay, well, let me ask you this question. How about if you had blue 5 called?
It's going to robber.
Okay. I remember you saying that on the phone now. Change of strength motion, would that include tight end
12
trade?
years of it like that. Huh?
Would that include tight end trade?
No, because now, yes, it would.
2 back.
Yeah, he changed his strength every 2-back.
Yep.
Changed his
Yeah,
strength.
because I was doing those worksheets, Willie, and that's strength motion and trade. Single call and double call.
One thing you'll find though, going with this package, you'll find very few, since we don't move anybody, You'll find very few people that tight end trade you. Because all we do is make the loose call.
Now,
No one, I mean, they don't really know what we're doing in coverage.
A little later on, we'll have to get into when you got zone on one side, man on the other.
The solo call,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's not a big deal.
You don't always go to Robert Edo.
Yeah, what he'd check sky, the corner back out. Weak safety, walk up, you play Robert over there. In two back. Biggest thing is the safety going up is yelling it out. In fact, you'll see it here. Our offense is doing a lot of tight end two back, guy going back and forth.
You guys are getting ready to run that, aren't you, Gary? Like
No,
20, 11 personnel with the tight end as a fullback?
No, we're getting that too, right now. Reason they're doing it because they don't like our cop call.
I don't like that end covering it.
No, because usually they know when they're blitzing, they can tell because the free safety's going to cheat and get one back. When you have a cop call, you don't know where the blitz. You can come from the tight end side, and the free safety's reading over here.
Good. What else? Anybody? I'm kind of asking a lot of questions. Anybody? Willie, anything else you want to know about? You're bailing. Tell me how you bail on an inside position. Like physically show me.
Well, it's not really. There is not really bail. Bail is just an alignment. Basically, if we started in press right before the snap, used to be when we played a
How's
lot
the
of
ball in here?
your ball's in there. So I'm sitting right on his inside eye. Used to be when we were real good at man pressing New Mexico because the corners were really good. On the snap of the ball, they do here.
Okay, that's a quick bail.
Yeah. Well, sometimes, depending on the athletic ability, those guys will play it different. But now, the way we're doing it, we're actually starting a spring where we're going to start about right here.
Okay.
Then either we're going to turn, play cover 5 squats and halves. We're going to turn, play man press. We may come back out and bail again. But right now, bail means inside eye, about 3 yards off, don't cross over. Make him run into you before you cross over. Now, obviously, we'll watch the film, and that's not always happening, but that's what Chris's job is to do. But what we want to do is make this guy go around us.
Okay. What say he gets around behind you now? I don't know where he is.
Now, that's my job not for that to happen.
Okay. I got to stand.
When he goes outside, he starts to press outside. My job is to do this. That's my job. Now, I tell you the hardest thing that we have, if they get too much distance between them, is the guy will push outside, and and then they'll come back to the post. Now, Chris will tell you, because he'd never taught it before, he thinks the hardest thing is
Was he
slant.
in Carolina one time?
Yes, he was our defensive coordinator.
Chris Thurman, right?
Yep. He was there 1 year, I think, with him.
Who was? Oh, Logan?
Yeah. It's not much level loss between those two. But like on a slant, they come out, the guy comes inside. If you bail hot fast, you can't. It doesn't matter if I bail fast if I'm in a backpedal. If I don't read backpedal and be able to drive. Whole thing here is, they come out, if I make him run into me, don't cross over. It's hard to break on a slant if he made me do this. Not hard to make a slant if I can do here and I can drive back on it. But one thing we don't get, and I think there's a lot of it, especially if they're not very good at the passing game, is that you can't read to throw the fade. Now against our offense, I haven't been in the scrimmage. I didn't play very much bail. I played mostly press because I wanted to work on it that day, yesterday. But as a general rule, what we'll do is come up and we'll bail it, and usually with somebody that's not watching. But very few people are good enough that they spent that much time on it, they're not working on a lot of other things. If we bail, they run a hitch, and if we press, they run a fade. Because the hardest thing they got is they don't know from this pillar right here if I'm not going to turn right around and I'm not going to be in a halves coverage. That's the hardest thing that they have within what we do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we get very limited game plans when it comes to passing game, especially 2 back and 1 back, 1 tight end sometimes, because we're going to get zone and man route. That same, it's not going to be you're going to have zone routes or man routes. You're going to have you're going to get one set of things out of certain personnel groups.
Go back to put a wide out there again, 1 back.
corners.
Yep. So we're in blue. And you use blue as a lot of times for a second call, right?
Yeah, it's probably more of a backside call, but we'll
That's
call
what I
it on
mean.
the front. Yeah.
Okay. So now, you already said if the tight end goes straight to the flat, you're getting a wheel call and the corner's getting ready to play that. Now, is he dropping over the top zone or is he jumping?
He will hang,
Okay.
but like I said, that is probably the weakness of the coverage. And that's probably the thing that we played the worst. Was
I got
probably
the
that
ball in
part.
the middle of the field and I got that receiver split out there.
Won't let you do it to me. I'll call Bronco.
Okay.
What Bronco is, what I was telling you, he's got him arrow, he's got him vertical, just like blue. Only won't have a wheel call because he can't be a force player and be over the top player too. So he ends up, he's either going to vertical or arrow him.
So if you had green call and they gave you that kind of split, they'd check
Middle of the field, I will call it in the middle of the field.
Okay.
The way Bronco came about,
Let's back up.
exactly, and it came about when people would put this formation into the boundary.
Okay.
And you called your reach side to the strength and passing formation, and you're sitting out here with a weak safety, and just whether we're in blue or 5, he has the automatic, whether I call it or not, this would become a Bronco, 3x10. It used to be back up. Now we're getting to where, especially in the boundary, the rule right now, if it's into the boundary here, Bronco, you can press it. If you're to the field, you back up and you play it from a soft read. Don't put yourself, just like a solo call, we're not going to put a man guy in one-on-one to the field if they put the formation in the boundary. We'd always check to get back in the huddle. What Bronco also means, Kyle, is it means blue coverage to the linebacker. He's a slice player. Still reading left, middle dropper, vertical of 3. Now, how do I get away from this? No, wide blue. I don't ever want to ever have to worry about it. So here I am, I'm in wide blue. I'm playing quarters of field. Linebacker will walk, and we're playing quarters on both sides, and now you didn't get me. But La Tech, here's why it came about. We're playing La Tech at Utah State the year we went to the bowl game. They don't throw the pro side. They're going to throw hitch and corner, out and curl, vertical and dig. They're going to throw everything to the twin side. That's where we're going to throw. So if you're playing squats and halves, they're high, low in your corner. The best coverage you can have is being robber. So we know we wanted to play the robber coverage to the 3-on-2. Well, they're going to put it in the boundary. Well, we had to have a way to be able to handle this out here and still have run support. And that's why the Bronco call came about within it. Because we had played a wide call with him most of the time. Now, just to show you how this works, whether you had a 50 look and you use that nickel or dime look I'm talking about, you put double safeties. And how it doesn't matter if you have a 50 look or a 4-man rush because you already had that many guys off the ball anyway. Now we run 22. We're playing robber coverage on both sides. Now, if you're in a 50 look, you'd actually have 2 vertical middle droppers. If you had a 4-man front, just have 1. Nickel and dime packages are very simple because there's no teaching to them.
Because you kept the
Techniques.
Everything, you already have that many off the football in the first place.
What, so you're not going to use blue in the middle of the field as the second part
Oh
of the
yeah,
call?
yeah, I will. But I would use if in one back you need to understand that if they're trying to arrow vertical you, that Bronco is one of the angles, and really for me, whether you're in blue or you want to call it blue or Bronco, if the guy goes vertical, he's got it. The difference is we just took the read out of it, which that's hard to do that in the middle of the field. All I said is now I'm going to handle the arrow and I'm going to handle the vertical.
By going Bronco?
Bump calls this alarm. They call this alert.
By going Bronco?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alert.
So
They call it.
say 2 blue Bronco?
Yeah. If I know they're going to come out in this, I'm going to call Bronco. It's not going to be 2 blue. It's going to be 2 Bronco.
Okay.
And then I'd add the solo call to it to handle trips.
I gotta use the bathroom. So.
But So
Any
it
of
sounds
that-
like
Yeah,
I need to go
some
use the
questions.
bathroom too and get it off my nose.
And any of that your wide
Huh?
stuff,
Give them a wet.
would you go and fill?
Do we have
and
any of
take
those,
your strong
Jim,
safety
any of those
just fill?
clean things in there?
And you say, in the free
You
safety.
had them, I think.
You know what I'm talking about, the ones you
Oh,
just.
yeah, the white one here?
Yeah, the
Just
wide,
give it a
right.
wet.
Me call.
Right. Can you ever double digit that?
Yeah.
Or
Blue
do you
5.
ever call that?
Wide blue 5. Wide.
So
yeah.
you can
It's,
still.
well, you
can
gotta
double
now
digit.
remember something. Draw the line.
Right, so you can,
All
you
this
fill
is a pro-
stuff, you can still double.
All this is the pro side. All
Right.
that is the twin side.
Right.
That's the neat thing. It don't matter what the formation is. I don't care if you come out empty. You want to come out here. Here's the reach side. If he can't do anything, what did I tell you? Your trips check, you had to be in blue 5 or 2. Roll. So I'm checking roll, and they're playing the backside coverage. We don't care it's empty. They just know it's twins. They know it's trips. That's it.
So that weak side, the tight end flanker side, and you got blue over there once again.
Oh, you mean
Away
just
from
2?
the read side, yeah, away from the read side.
So you want to make the reach side over here? I mean over here?
Right,
Okay.
that's it, just better.
So you
You're
want to
saying
play
if
the
two
field?
goes, right,
Yep.
if 2 goes to the flat, tight end side,
Okay.
you know, the tight end side, 2 goes to the flat,
Yep.
that corner is set down on
He will bail, and he'll be slow back to it.
it. Right,
He's a late comeback.
okay,
We say within our package, we'll let you throw that.
right, okay,
And we will take it away with, if you're doing it, then I'm gonna call cover 5,
right,
where we're gonna have a hard corner, and now the safety's gonna be a half. Or, I may be playing 3, or I may be, like with our offense, they were going option, boot, sitting him down, coming here, and we roll up to man free, and now the weak safety has him, and there's
Right.
nobody there.
right.
But that's the way we play it now. What we've done this spring in our quarters coverage, people used to kind of nickel and dime us with this, 5-yard out. Quicker one wasn't as bad because we could read it real quick. But now you got a safety holding in here, shuffling, and you got a guy bailing. That's hard. So what we've used to do because of the run, again, everything was predicated on the run. We hung this guy and broke leg. Now pass shows we're going to work to get underneath it. Stiv give a wheel call, and he can be back late to it. Now, the backer can't ever get to the quick one. But now the corner can come off quick, and I can get to the vertical.
Right.
If he works up the field, now the backer can work underneath, and the corner doesn't have to be as fast, and I can get there.
But that's only if 2 is quick to the flat.
That's correct.
Right.
If Quick works up the field and out underneath 5 yards, because if he goes up to 8, that's my vertical clue, and I got him
Right,
anyway.
right.
There won't be a wheel call. The weak safety's just going to play him. But now, since we went to this, now they won't split a guy out there anymore. Offense won't. Now they're leaving a tight end in the deal to keep the linebacker in the box and doing it.
But a regular old hitching corner route over there, you don't think they'll throw it really because of the position
Well,
of the corner on
they'll
the
throw
back?
the hitch in the corner, but our corner again is going to bail.
Right,
Now the linebacker over on the wayside is now the China player, not the safety. So he's
Right.
the guy running to it. And now you're getting double on the corner route.
right.
Yes.
But if they're doing that, you're probably going to call some type of rock. You're 2.
That's
he's
one
zooming-
of the answers.
Right, he's zooming out there right now.
That's one of the answers.
Or you can just play a
Man.
hard man or hard corner. Yep.
Man or hard corner. But still, hard corner's hard against the hitching corner because that's why they. Thank you, Coach. That's why
The
the
corner
hitching
route.
corner
The
came
corner
about.
route. Yeah, the corner route.
Taking back, I want to look at one thing here quick. I was thinking about it walking down the hallway
Oh,
there.
shit, that's a lot of thoughts.
Give me 12 personnel,
Okay.
both wideouts on the same side.
Okay.
You got field 2 call.
Field 2.
Yeah. I know you're not going to do that, but
Check roll. Wouldn't check sky because it's not 2 backs.
okay.
Again, 1 back, we would probably have that word with it, or this word with it, which we'd play our offense exclusively in that. corner's over.
I need to make a note of that. So there's no sky versus one back.
No, no sky. Don't need it. Not unless somebody's giving us a heavy dose and the corner's not holding up to counter, but inside zone, outside zone, not a big deal. Most anymore, we won't get outside zone where they're trying to get outside. They fan everything and they're trying to cut it back. We don't get true outside zone anymore unless they tee it or something. But then they can't block him. We're going to get it. We're going to, with this lineman here, we're going to get outside zone. We're going to get it over here. Is where we're going to get the zone at.
Okay, if you had a solo call with it, now your weak safety is going to be trapping 3.
Vertical of 3.
Okay.
Short wall. Mike's got remaining back. Corner's man on the backside.
Remaining back goes to the 3 receiver side.
Zone's off.
Okay. Back goes this way, drop over the top.
Go to him.
Hug him.
Yeah.
Same thing with the corner. Tight end drags across the field, zone
If he goes real flat, he zones off. If he works up the field, he's got him.
Okay.
That's different than a solo with a wideout. When it's a wideout, he's got him wherever he goes. We call solo because that's a different animal.
Tight end, trip side is not vertical.
Blocks.
Yeah. Or releases to the flat, weak safety.
Okay. He now looks for anything. What they do, what solo means is the short wall player and him are going to build a wall. We are not going to allow anybody to come back across the man side. If this guy goes vertical, then I'll handle him. But like, let's just say for this, if he went this, here's a route we'd get. Vertical, run him off, dig. Weak safety's running the robber. Solo player becomes the dig player.
All right, and if you had, give me the whole call with flip on it.
2 blue flip.
2 blue flip. Okay, so you
And
flip and then whatever coverage.
because in this personnel it is because you're not going to give me really any other configuration.
Where you're
okay.
going to get flipped. Oh, no, that's
Because trips is going to be flipped, and if it's balanced, we're going to be playing.
Right.
How about if you got like 2?
If you're like your wing guy, if you're going to ship guys, then I could add a solo call to it.
Okay, well, take me through this first. Okay, you got flip.
Cowboys.
So you're over, you're playing, your corner's over, whatever zone you choose to play.
Yeah.
Play your 2 deep, you can play your quarters.
Yeah.
Okay? All right, so just draw that up a second. Let me see what that looks like.
So, what do you want?
I got
Just
the-
trips?
Yeah, I got the flip.
Okay. Corners are over. We'll play blue on the outside with the 2 corners. Because it's flipped, strong safety won't go line up on number 2. Run coverage.
We got to get into flip. Okay, a little heavier.
We started flip for one back zone teams so we could keep people that are trained to play this outside zone, inside zone, the counter playing it instead of this corner lining up back here doing it.
Okay, so
Can't block force.
so you're playing quarters over here.
Quarters, vertical of 3,
Okay.
just like a solo call. He's vertical of 3. Now, this guy's taking the corner's place and he's taking the weak safety's place. So he's vertical of 3. He's man on the backside. We're flip basically a solo on the backside.
Okay, so give me the whole call again.
2 blue flip.
No solo.
You want a solo? We can add a solo call if you want to. You can add anything you want to it.
But backside of flip is understood to be solo.
When we flip, we went to flip coverage. Okay? Everybody's playing, it's the backside is solo.
How about if it's 2 back? Flip.
Now, eye box, check sky. Weak, strong safety, free safety makes it. Playing basically cover 2 back here, playing flip. You don't give us a run support here, playing flip. So now, if you try to overload the twin side, I'm going to overload it with playing 5. Vertical, I got 5 players, you're 3. You try to take it back here and run the football. Flip is an adjustment coverage to play the run because you played the formation with your corners. I now come back and play sky. And that's where we get into this. with the slide call is because you do that, we slide to a 4-3 and we overplay the coverage. If you don't overplay the formation of the tight end side, we don't slide. We're gonna play where you try to create the mismatches. But if you wanted a base way to play it, the way we played it when we first put it in, you gave me I backs, the weak safety, and the free safety check sky. And they played blue over here in the flip.
Once the safety goes, he got a
He is swing deep at 3.
swing deep at 3.
Same thing as he got in all the rest of those coverages. And he just backs himself in the curl. The corners play blue coverage like the away side. There's no me players. So if number 2 runs it out, inside corner makes a wheel call, outside corner comes off, and he gets over the top of 1. Again, we just have a corner coach.
How about if you had motion there?
Huh?
How about if you had motion?
Oh, that becomes easy because corner comes back over and we go back to robber coverage. Two backs, and I will always use robber on the front side or a man free scheme or fiddle scheme. It'll never be a quarter, not a 2 shell look with flip. 1 back, we can do that. 2 back, but don't. So now it goes back to the same rule you had. Now it's free safety's reading right, the corner's back over, and you got robber.
See, that's, when I was doing the worksheets, Willie, what I was a little nervous about is, see, because where you got that dollar sign out there,
Yeah.
you know, that's the guy I told you for us is more of an outside linebacker. So I'm thinking, you know, you got, in your vernacular, you got 2 blue, and they go across.
Yeah.
I'm going to blue over here now. Now I got that outside linebacker playing a quarter, and I really didn't want to do that.
No, he doesn't
You
play
go to
quarter.
robber.
He just stay. This is a strong safety. He never goes back to quarter ever anyway.
Right, but
Yeah.
you understand, I didn't.
Oh
know
yeah.
that.
No, I understand that. That guy for me right now, this is either 215, 205, or 200. None of them run faster than 4.6. I can guarantee you that. And you'll see them in the
That's
first
about
scrimmage.
what our guys are running, both Lapen.
I would bet money. I would bet money your Sams are just as fast as those guys.
Will Lape run 4.6, Kyle?
That's what you
I
said
think
today.
did run 4.6.
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah.
He can run now, I know that.
4-6.
But I don't know that when he's playing a quarter.
Like I told you, if I had the best of all worlds, I would recruit one that's a banger, and I recruit and then teach him to backpedal,
4-6-4.
and then I would recruit one that can be a man player. That can be halfway banger. That's a perfect world for me. That's the way we had it in New Mexico. One of them got in the Redskins camp. The other one became accountant.
So say that again, one's a banger, one's a,
One was a man player.
okay, but you got 3 of them. One's a banger.
No, I'm talking about the strong safety position.
Oh, okay.
One was they were in 2 backs. Antoine Wright, which was from Lubbock, he was 6'2", 218 pounds.
Okay, so you're not standing on the sideline, they run 21 personnel, you're saying, go
No.
Antoine.
But I know Antoine's in there, and I'm not going to put him in man situations sometimes if that was the way it was.
Okay.
But if he could, he played some. But if I played man, then I was going to play with the free safety because the free safety always does. I'm going to play bracket with the strong or a fiddle call.
Okay.
So I can still play man. So now here's Antoine Wright, and you came out in 20 personnel, 2 backs. Remember the deep call and the whole call I used was solo? 0 fiddle. So now we got an outside inside. So if they ran option this way, it's just like robber coverage. Pitch, quarterback. But I told the weak safety deep, like I told him in solo.
Right.
So he sits here, plays run, pass shows, he gets deep. Which that again is just basically a lot like Kansas State. If they were in a tight end here and you're sitting,
They do it off of, they do it off of,
movement.
movement.
Yeah.
If they get play action.
Same does Nebraska.
Yeah.
They call it 11 robber.
Yeah, they don't know until, it's almost like old rotation coverage. They don't know until they get the rotation.
But see, for me, we don't play none of it. Our answers is the zone part. So I don't take all that because I don't got time to teach all of it. Now, if I was all of it, then I would do it. Now, if I wanted whole, I'd call 0 free and play hold. Now this better be a pastime that I do this because I just lost my leverage player. Now I don't mind that 215 guy playing man coverage because he's playing outside leverage. He's got a guy helping with crossing routes. All he's got to do is keep leverage on the corner. He's got a deep player. Now, and you're going to see number 29, Cody Slinker, which is probably running at about 475, cover a 429 guy, and barely they get the vertical handle. And it took him forever to find him because they didn't know we were man.
Yeah, that really doesn't bother me. Our first, well, even this year, I mean, we do so much with we take our rush ends, and they'll have to cover a wide out when we zone blitz.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we call it match, carry, deliver, but part of it's carry. You know, we had Ryan Bauer the first year here, who, yeah, we put him out there on number 2 on Twins. And
Well, you want to do this. You want to talk about cover 5, and then watch a little film so you can see a little bit of the
How do you
match
have your
coverage.
film broken up? When did you put 5 in?
5 goes in the 3rd day.
Okay, so
Now, here's how it's set up. So, you know, in spring, because you don't go 2-a-days, 2 goes in first with roll.
right.
2nd day, because we're in short still, we put in blue so we can still be not physical, and we put Bronco and Solo in. And we're always putting a 0 coverage, a man coverage.
I got your blue not going into your 3rd practice.
Well, we had to change it because of the way the rule change went.
Oh, okay.
Then the 3rd day is your first day of pass, so we can be physical, so we put in cover 5 so you can play a squat, and we put in man press.
Okay.
Okay? All our zone coverages are in. Now, in 2-a-days, in the first 6 practices, the whole package is taught. That whole
So you're the, how you said, whole part?
whole part whole. Now, the nice thing is, at practice 6, then we go right back. The thing about it is, I never stop an individual teaching 2 blue and 5. We only teach 3 zone coverages technique-wise.
Uh-huh.
I work on the run, I work on blitzing, and I work on playing quarters, a half, and a sky look. That's one of the safeties. The corners work on, because our 0 bail is the same as our blue bail. The only difference is where your eyes start. One you're in hard van, one you're looking at number 2. But the technical part of playing, it's it. Our robber coverage, cover 2, off man is the same as 0 man. We're 1x7. The only difference is, in 0 man, we're read steps, and now I'm hard focused all the time. I don't care what happens to number 2.
Uh-huh.
So there's 2 coverages, man and zone, are the same.
Uh-huh.
The only thing that changes is a squat corner or a press corner. Because the squat corner is going to work outside leverage and he's not going to chase the guy. But both of them have to be able to shuffle and be able to use their hands. And both of them still, the jam still cannot be played with upper body. You still got to be able to move your feet. And that's why we feel like a lot of people say you can't play man or you can't play zone. Well, you can't if you make it spot drop zone and you try to play man. We make man cops can't. I mean, it's like 3 deep. If they run 3 verticals and you're in 3 deep, you're in man. You're in man. I mean, that's Bump taught me that. I said, well, let's play 3 deep. Well, just know this: those son bitches all run deep. They're all in man, so there's no difference. Okay,
Talked about that
you won.
once.
I never won the 3 deep battle with him. Can I get 6 of them back there? So I said, okay, fine. We're just going to blitz and don't leave anybody at the post then.
Well, what I think we ought to do is I think we ought to break now.
Okay?
And Willie's going to pick you up at 9. Is that what I got on there, Willie?
I think it's a little early.
Breakfast
Yeah,
at
breakfast
8:30.
at 8:30.
8:30.
Yep, 8:30 to 9.
Okay. Well, I meant either pick you up at 8:30 or either.
I brought the Y game, which they're all 4 Ys,
Uh-huh.
and it's a very good game as far as that teaching. That's why I brought Navy, I brought New Mexico, and I brought them. You're going to just see, none of those places we've been more than 2 years. You're going to see Navy, I was only there 1 year, and see how fast they play the covers package. And New Mexico, you're going to see in 2, and then here you're going to see in 2. And I even brought stuff from the first year at New Mexico,
Did you bring all your game tapes?
just about all of them.
So you got some two.
All cut up. I got all combinations of robber coverage. I got all our blitzes. I even got 9 and 8 hold options somewhere in here.
What the hell you got that for?
Huh? Because he said that you guys were going to 3-back stuff. Situational package. Tell you what, she didn't do bad. Tell you what, the girl that packed this, now she's a good-looking gal, but not very much brains. I even brought 30 and 31, which is Rice and Air Force stuff, so we can look at it.
Yeah. roll on to cover 5 here.
All right, I was trying to find this so I can give him so we can,
Make that.
yeah. Where I put it.
Kyle, if you need to go,
I'll be all right.
sure.
Hey, you get you a little lady now, those are important now. Cover 5, no different than blue and 2. We're going to come out, read side, strength this passing formation. Strong safeties coming out here, corners coming out here, reading left, playing 5. The only difference is now, because they moved the hashes in, this is the only time the weak and the free safety ever line up to hash. Ball's in the middle of the field, because they moved them in, we're 2 yards outside the hash, 12 yards deep. Now, later on, we didn't do it in the first scrimmage because they didn't want us to move that much, but we'll start showing Robert, moving to a half, move back and forth, but we're never going to be, just go out there and line up in a half. If the ball moves over, closer throw, instead of 2 yards outside the hash, I become 3 yards outside the hash, I pull the yard, I'm a yard outside the hash. Moderate splits. Corners are the same alignment as they were in blue. They're going to line up either in press or they're in bail coverage. Again, I hate talking about because you're going to need to decide how you want to play your corners, how much of a zone, true zone you're going to be with it. For us, we're going to be at 3 yards to tighter because all the man press we play. On right before the snap of the ball, we're going to square around, outside alignment, same way you've always played a squat corner. We want to funnel, open, and sink. Forwards, jam,
I'm just
funnel,
real
open, and
curious.
sink. Yes, sir.
Because I seem to always have this debate. You get an inside release. I'm funneling. Now when I
3
open,
steps.
When I open, just show me how you open.
So
On the ball in here.
The way we open, because of the way we are always man conscious, we do the same thing with outside
Because
release.
we're-
Okay, I jam,
Okay.
1, 2, 3. I'm going to open the inside and I'm going to sink back. The reason
I
we
lose
do
that
it,
argument with everybody.
well, it's not the reason we do it that way, and we've done it both ways, is because we're so man conscious. It's an overlap because I'm always with the guy. It's the same way why when we're in squat corners instead of we're in press corners, because in press corners, what do we always do? We do this. Well, if I was playing just a true zone, boom, I'd open back to the inside and let the guy come behind me.
Sure.
Okay? Now, you see it both ways, but the way we're doing now, because we always open that with man quarter, he does get out and I press him, he comes here, we're going to do like this and whip because that's the same way. Now it's overlap teaching with what we play man. And we've had just as long a debate as anybody had. Like I told you, I don't think our little corners play squat very well.
I'm laughing at you.
I lose that fucking argument every time, and then I watch, because you know how we used to do it, right? Huh? They used to funnel, plan off of that foot and open this way, as opposed to opening this way. And I see everybody do this now, and when that ball gets thrown back here, what do? They all flip back like this to play. Everyone.
So when number one out leverages you outside,
We're
you're
gonna
gonna
whip-
ride
we're
and
gonna-
you're gonna whip
we're gonna
around.
man
You're
turn
not
it.
gonna open up and
We're going to man turn it.
walk
Now-
out to the
Pros do
sideline.
that.
Huh?
A lot of the pros do that. I remember when we had Wade Phillips come in and talk to us, and that's the exact way they did it.
Now, the thing about it, though, is
Whipped.
Yeah,
if
they
they
whip.
could
I
stop
know when you walling him outside, keeping him out of the zone, like on a kick, then you would flip that away.
Uh-huh.
Now, if you could stop him
But
from
you lose
getting here,
vision though. of the
yeah,
quarterback.
well, that's the problem.
Right.
The thing is, if you could get him here and you get him wide where you widen him too much, then they'll be allowed to do this.
How deep are you playing that from?
3?
Yeah, see, that's the same thing as the
Now, again-
pros, because they gotta get up inside that 5-yard bump rule, so they've got time to get their hands on him and then whip their head back around to see somebody coming to the flat or a flare or.
We have, since Utah State, every year, we have always, depending on the personnel, have always tinkered with how this would be. And we've started with a bail. When we had good corners, we started with a press. This year, we're starting at a 3-yard bail look. Because we've been giving people a pre-snap press for about 5 years straight now. But what as a coordinator do I know I give up? when you're that close, I don't read number 2 as good as I do if I was back here at 7 shuffle. But there's a trade-off for me, and I live with it. The trade-off for me is I'm close enough now that they don't know when I'm in man press or man under or whatever else we're playing, the difference of reading that number 2. And that's what you have to decide. For me, we have to decide every year. How much we're going to blitz, how much we're going to be playing up there, and if we're not going to be playing up there, then we're going to give more ground. Like in the USC game, their wideouts, I mean, three out of the 4 are in the NFL. I mean, we're not even, I mean, we're playing with a corner that's 4-7 that first year. We got against them, there's not even a chance. They're overall better than playing Oz Hakeem at San Diego State. So where are we at? Sometimes we're back at about 6, playing 5, and we play blue. But we had 3 weeks to go ahead and game plan and prepare us the last game of the season. But we're not going to stand a chance if we stay up there. But they also knew when we were going to play press man then too when we walked back up, which was hard. Just had to live with it. But for one game, it didn't take till about the 4th quarter. That was a game that kept trying to see we were man, and we kept playing 3-hole out of our nickel package, and they kept running crossing routes. I mean, that's, again, the flexibility of the defense. But as always, the strong safety now, instead of being out, he can show blitz a lot faster. If he wants to go out and show his outside leverage to give disguise, but before the snap, he wants to be inside. If run shows because you have cloud support, corner support, he is now the pitch player. Flat player is the pitch player. Since the strong safety's in the alley, he is the quarterback player. You got a half. Same on the other side.
Talk to me about his alignment.
Strongs?
Yeah.
Make sure that you can get to the run, and make sure that number 2 can't get down the middle. Most of the time, what I'll tell him, he'll be inside probably 3 yards and about 5 yards in one back.
Okay, he's reading quarterback. He reads pass.
Opens.
Eyes are on 2.
Doing the same thing you always do in cover 5.
He's funneling
Try
outside now.
on the outside, and we will sink to 12. We will not carry vertical. And we've got that because of all the passing teams we get, especially because he's usually the field side curl zone, and you get ran out of there all the time. Allow him to be more physical, beat on him, man turn sink in the window route, but don't try to get over everything. That's the same thing we do with the wall back side, the wayside backer. Again, the reach side backer is vertical at 3 middle drop. How your life became easier. In 2-back set, basically our linebackers non-existence in the passing game. I mean, they play the run hard because we play a lot of robbers, so they don't even have to worry about choice routes behind them. Unless you're a split back angle team where you're up the field bringing people inside. Wayside guy, just like robber coverage, he is wall. The only difference, he is not vertical at 2 because you got a half player. If you get a China route, he is now the China player, and the corner sinks for the corner route. The half player helps.
Say this again now.
Just like in blue, you're a wayside dropper. Okay? I think you walked down the hall when this question was asked.
Right now you're in 5 across
5.
the board.
Yep.
Okay, so you're playing it different on one side than you're on the other?
No, I'm the China player because I'm the curl player over here. Okay? Wayside linebacker because you're not cover 2 where the weak safety's out here in the flat. In blue and 5 on your wayside. Same way anybody that plays corners or halves, China happens unless you want to keep the guy down low. But what we do is we're going to protect deep, and he runs the China route. Again, that half zone tape I got for practice will show you how it works.
Obviously, he might be middle of the field. He's got a long way to go to
Well, again, in the middle of the field, what are we going to play over here?
Bronco. Okay. All right, now, if you get double verticals, no, your inside players are not running with the vertical.
Nope, you're going to be hard, and the corner's going to sink. They don't get a number 2 to the outside, then it turns into a read situation.
Okay, so they don't get number 2 to the outside. They could end up being 40 yards down the field.
Mm-hmm.
And if that back swings, or if somebody comes from the other side, then is your AB player, your away, and your strong safety leverage of 3.
If they get 4 vertical and do it, but it's not going to have a problem here. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen over here to the linebacker side because he's already in a natural leverage position. even with a pro set, even with a flanker where he's now going to come back down just like he did in blue coverage because it's a shell look, alignment's the same, pass shows, again, that'll be where he has, if you have any difficulty, it's going to be coming back here because he's always going to work wider. We don't play cover 5 much on the read side.
So 5 is not a call very much on the.
No, it's a change-up call on the read side. Most of the time we're playing it in the boundary.
So you're main on the read side. You're mainly playing robber.
2 blue, man concepts. 3.
How would you play curl flat?
Here,
Right.
well, here's different than when, and Willie's going to get you into the way we do things. My half player starts in the back pedal. Both of them don't go vertical. He's not staying in the
Is
back.
he still 12 yards there?
Yes.
Because he's still off the hash, the same as you were talking
Yeah.
about before, even with a tight end.
Yeah.
Okay.
If, and let's just say, because we don't play it over here, let's just put it on the backside. Because that's where we're going to get it more. Let's just say they're in double wides. Linebacker walk. Weak safety's outside the hash.
Now, how have you protected yourself inside with a linebacker walk?
Twists, slants. We call it canceling gaps.
Okay.
Like again, the formation stuff that I brought you, you see people didn't have very much success with that stuff. A lot of it's pretty decent, but the other reason is a lot of times we're with this guy, and a lot of times we're doing what we talked about before. They got to be able to account for those guys coming off the edge, at least one side or the other. But anyway, you got a half player, okay? Linebacker's walk. He's your wall player, wayside linebacker. Start in a back pedal. As soon as this, if they both went vertical, he'd stay in a back pedal. But as soon as this guy, one of these two doesn't go vertical, we don't cover any grass. So if they went vertical, or they went vertical and they ran dig, he'd look up the dig. If they went, it's the same way that you played read, only we're playing a hard corner. But if they do anything where it's going to be, let's just say they run smash and they did something like that. I started in a half, I'm driving back down on it. I'm walling it. That's a China call because it had an under 5. Linebacker walls it, I sink. We don't play. The only difference between our blue and 5 is we're starting in a back pedal and we're starting with a hard corner. If you're not going to give us 2 vertical threats, we're going to sit down on routes. This year, people completed 16% over 15 yards. We want, in our coverage package, and why a lot of people are a little bit like this, is we want you to try to throw the ball vertical. Because we don't get the post very often. When we're going to get vertical down the sideline and stuff.
We get a lot
Out of 180 completions, 111 balls are thrown underneath 5 yards against us this year. 111 out of 180. A lot of that happens because you're showing blitz, they go to 3-step or whatever you're doing, or make them do check down routes. We could count them, but there's 251 snaps of Robert covers the read side, and I would probably say there's not more than 20 routes ever thrown to the field side against it. And that includes posts. And a lot of it's because people don't, whether you have time to throw the post, maybe because of the 4-man front, the way we rush the passer, the twists, or just the threat of the blitz, but we don't get very much of it.
You ever get hurt with the corner route any at all by number 1?
That's the hard one. Covered the number 2 guy is not something we're worried about. But number 1, obviously, anytime you're going to play inside leverage is going to be the only way you can combat that is to play cover 5, or man free or 3D.
Right.
I mean, again, we're going to teach those 3 coverages. We know against every scheme they're going to take certain things away. When we go into a ball game, I'll give you an example. We start out the game against 4 wideouts. We start out the game against 4 wideouts we call 2 blue. Now you take those 3 coverages, and you got 9 coverages. And obviously 52 would have to be a 2-back set because you'd be playing a sky on the back side.
Right.
Same with here. Okay? Old days, we used to number them like this. A lot of people, this is not anything new. I think it's how you teach it. Now, new freshmen, and this came from Sonoma State where you had to teach 40 JC guys. 40 GC guys can't learn 1 through 9. Okay? But first 3 practices, we usually teach these 2. So now you take this line and you draw right down the middle of these. First digit tells you what the free safety is going to play. So you come up and you call 25. He says 2 reading left, strength of the passing formation. Weak safety comes back and says 5. They don't care. Okay? Since he said reading left, what's the reading side dropper doing? Vertical 3, middle drop. Period. If you work wall, if he winds, he'll widen that middle drop and widen his wall. Okay? Wayside linebacker, because it's cover 5. Key is, the side over here doesn't know you're not playing cover 5 across the board. It's not a new coverage to them.
Right.
2, these guys don't know you're not playing robber coverage over here. It's not a new coverage to them. So what happens is, you created 9 coverages in 3 because we just call them the same things. Now, you want to play a coverage difference if they're a single whisk set or a trips or different, then we add a word. We add the word solo behind any of these, doesn't matter. We say how we want to play trips. Well, we say they come out trips, we add the word solo, now we're going to play solo. What solo allows us to do? Not check roll. Because the way people used to beat roll is vertical and out. Out and curl. High, low, and strong, just like 3 deep versus twins. Well, now because of the solo call, I handle vertical with a short wall. Let's go ahead and play coverage. So let's just say we played robber out here. Now free safety is going to rob the curl. Corner's going to sink, so if they do run the corner out by number 3, you have a player running away from it, and you got a flat player. Did I have to teach them anything new? They're just playing robber coverage. I can play blue, 2 or 5 right here, whatever I want to play.
That's it.
Solo meant man. That's it. Man, what is this? What is solo? That is 0 press. We already taught it. The only difference is we're saying solo because you can't say 0 on the back side of this. It's a zone concept deal. In fact, our starting quarterback's getting too smart because he's starting to listen to our calls before he even listens to the huddle calls, so he knows what coverage we're getting.
We've done a lot of
This stuff.
the solo, because that was what we call rocket, which allows us to play the front side coverage call versus trips with the backside safety handled vertical.
Now, people that come out and empty, and this is something we got from Bump. Okay? Now they don't allow you to play solo calls. So now I got to come up with a different way to play trips. So another way we call it, let's go down, let's put it with 5 again here. Okay? Now we come out 25 special. Special is the reach side, basically solo. Okay? Another way to play trips. We know we can't play solo, so what are we going to play on the backside? 5. So they're playing squats and halves. 5 just like they always play it. Okay? Over here, solo tells us the outside man is going to play it. And what the strong safety and free safety and the linebacker are going to do is they're going to play a 3-on-2. Just eliminate him. Strong safety is going to act like a corner. You play 2 back sets, then you're going to be more into sky, maybe some Bronco, solo, flip, how to handle. Again, flip's another way for us to go over to trips, but it's not this kind of trips. But basically all those words talk to one guy. They talk to him. If this guy here doesn't hear anything from him, what's he checking the trips?
Roll.
Roll. Your deep call. That's simple. If I don't tell them anything, then that's how they're going to handle things. The nice thing is, with 5 DBs, if they come out here and I want to play man, and if I had an extra safety in here, I could do it. Even an empty, which we call this our dollar set, will be, well, actually could be nickel. We play man, we can line up and move up late and without teaching anything more and play man free. Because even in our zero coverage, we're always going to do just like we do in zone. We're going to count from outside in on our side. Draw the line.
Any two back motion, change of strength, robber. Well, a little bit of one back motion.
Well, it's going to be like Robert, but you're going to be going to roll.
Let's just say you got 2-5,
Yeah.
Sky, Bronco called, and you got 11 personnel.
Yeah?
So you got and they give you twins to the field,
Yep.
pro into the boundary. So you're reading left,
Mm-hmm.
all right? You
There's
got
only-
Bronco
yep.
the back side,
Yep.
all right?
Two reading left.
Lane 2, reading left. All right, and you get twin guy motioning over the other side.
Always happen, leverage. Reading right, check sky, check roll. Same family set. Two back, going to go to cover 2. One back, you're going to go to roll. Sky, sky, sky from him to make sure he gets the corner out.
Okay.
Reading right, check roll.
So in other words, you're still going to robber, but you're going to roll.
Yeah, because you got to be able to handle. You don't want your reach side linebacker vertical in 3. But the reason this week safety's going to say sky is to get the corner out of it. Makes no difference. Because remember what I told you in roll coverage. What's the corner playing like anyway? He's playing like cover 2.
All right.
Again, why are you just going to go to this and make it simple? When they motion, what are they going to do? They're either going to bring it over and they're going to run it, or they're bringing it over to run combination with it.
Okay. And roll's not the best against combination.
No, it's not. But it's best to get back in the huddle.
Okay. Now erase that guy motion.
And this only would happen when? Middle of the field. Because if this was the boundary, and I'm going to show you, we can watch the East Carolina film, because they did it to a lot of people. If this was the boundary, here, the way you solve all those problems is called wide 2 blue solo, and you play read side of the field, and as soon as that guy motioned,
So
in fact, what they did is they did this. So to keep a natural leverage, they put formation in the boundary with a wide call. We got to get a 1-back 4, so he checks sky to this, and I use the freeze call, even though I'm reading right. So basically, what am I in? I'm in roll coverage, 3 deep. They shifted the tight end back here. Then they're going to shift him right there. So we're still 2 reading right, and that still don't make any difference to us. Okay? Now here he comes.
okay, you're 2 read.
Now what's this guy going to do?
What was your full call?
Wide 2 blue solo.
Okay, well, so before you went in motion, you're playing blue on the backside.
Still playing blue.
Okay. You're going solo.
Now we're going solo, so he backs up, he moves up to him. So now we're coming out here, and if they run this guy across and run the out and the curl, he robs the curl, and the weak safety came back here in vertical 3. Now and that's probably without it doing anything else, unless there's a reason why you want to play twins, you always play a wide call, and then you never get away from it. But for us, because, again, that's one of the reasons why we don't get very much formation in the boundary, because you give us more than one snap of it, we're not going to play the formation in the boundary with our coverage. We're going to end up playing a wide call, and we're going to play our coverage of the field, and we're just going to stand there and look at you. And that's why they kept doing this, and then trying to run crossing routes, trying to catch us in man and blitz, and we kept playing zone, and then they looked stupid. The worst call was I called a blitz on about the 3rd game to play, and it was a slick night, and a strong safety falls down and goes 50. The guy does, and then they get 27 yards on 22 plays after that because they can't run the football. Want to watch some?
Anybody have any questions on anything before we go to it?
Did you show them how you in your 2D become 5? How you play the curl flat?
Yeah,
Curl
that was
flat
what. Yeah,
combination.
when the guy doesn't go deep, then we rob it. Don't cover grass. Again, just like we do in quarters coverage, we're going to run right at the guy and rob him because we don't want him to be able to go hitch and go. even cover 5, how do you handle the out and the up? Your corner's not a flat player, he's your swing deep or 2 player. So if you got an out and a curl and the out and up, the corner handles it.
We haven't really talked about 3 as a side call or a single call. We can do that a little later.
Everything in 3 is alignment-wise is the same as robber coverage.
Okay.
In your spot.
3 by 7. Yeah, and what we're going to do this year is we're going to take Rice's approach. We're going to hang in the curls and make us do something instead of running somewhere.
Rice did the same thing you guys are on defense.
Yeah, pretty much. They play a lot of rubber on the reach side. They play quarters, and then they play solo on the backside, and then they play what I call lock.
Who
What
running their defense?
Nobody really. I mean, besides that, I mean, they're one of us. Texas
Who's
Tech.
coordinated?
Yeah, who's running Rice?
What's his name? He's the one that's been with them forever. He's their secondary coach. Now the biggest thing they get away, they're a little bit more simple. All they run is smokes. But one of the reasons they can be the way they have a really hard time when people just hang up and start throwing the football because they can't. They live on not playing very many plays a game,
Right.
I should say.
Yeah,
And they live on, they're only going to have to play 25 snaps. And then you know how it is when you play them. I mean, if you lose the toss and they get it and they score, it's like we had Air Force in Nebraska, and I was asking Chuck Patterson about playing them. He says, it's hard, you never want to defer. Because especially if you're another option team, they go down and score. Now, if you don't move the ball, you go 3 plays, now you're picking, and now all of a sudden they win another 7-minute drive plus the 8-minute drive, and all of a sudden the first quarter's over.
This is non-related, but my last year at Pitt, I don't like to say it, but we lost to Ohio State 72-0. Our offense had, I think they had -1 yard rushing and 9 yards passing in the game, no first downs. The week before, Ohio State had beaten Rice 70-0.
I got that film.
And we knew we were in trouble because Rice was doing everything they could not to have their defense out there on the field. And there's about 5 or 6 all-pro players on that Ohio State team.
That's when you knew. I think they were trying things because they got to where their man play, free play, and outside leverage man, and when the guy came in and cracked, he was coming off taking the pitch and man. That was their 4th quarter adjustment. We tried to learn from him. That was in 90. In fact, the year of that was 1996. That was my first year in New Mexico. It's lovely playing down there in the rain and
Where
on
were you
turf.
before in Mexico?
Naval Academy,
Just that 1 year, or for a few days?
1 year, and then I was at Utah State before.
Old Gary stopped by at Pitt and spent a little time with us, and we were pretty intrigued, and so we said, we'd like to bring you back in, and Gary called me back up, and I said, when can you come, and tell us what he said.
I don't think Bump wants me to. Says, you do what you want. He says, but I'm giving you advice. He said, we just got here. I just take care of your own business.
Line this up for me. 12 personnel, 2 tight ends on the same side with a wing,
Yeah.
twins on one side, and then also 2 receivers on the same side. I mean,
Want me to play flip or not flip?
well, you're 12 personnel, so let's.
Because I call it flip.
Okay.
Well, sky between the free and the weak. Strong's hanging. Linebackers.
So get right to full call up above it.
Sure.
There you
I just say when we're 2 blue, flip.
go. Okay.
Because these aren't tight ends, let's just say game plan why we say they're not. Sometimes when you keep 2 guys over here, no matter what, we won't flip. Just depends on how we want to stop things. In this case, let's just say we're playing Fresno State because they gave us this year and we're going to do this. Okay? Say the call was tight G. Now for us, you remember what I was talking to you about with the scoop call?
Sure.
And I'm going to take you back 1 minute here just for a second. Because so many people are getting in 2 tight ends.
Topping that guy.
Getting in 2 tight ends. So let's just say the call's 2 blue solo. So we're 2 reading left, quarters on the backside.
What's your 2 blue solo, not flip?
Yeah, well, here's going to be 2 blue flip, solo.
Okay.
I'm going to give a scoot call.
Now, is the scoot call gonna come in?
Both.
To both of them?
He's going to give it, and I'm going to give it.
Okay.
So, start out, right now we're playing 2 blue, and we're playing tie G. They shift him off. Okay? They're going to create a trips and a 2-back set at the same time. Weak safety says the linebacker, scoot, scoot, scoot. He says scoot at the same time, he's going to tell the corner, just like the motion to trips,
Solo.
solo. Solo, solo. He moves down the box. Now we're playing solo, so they come out and they run out and curl. We got a solo player. And what he will do is he will never get closer than 8 yards because it's a 1-back set as far as he's concerned. It's overshifted. All he has to be is a B-gap cutback player. Now within everything we just did there, I can slant the defensive line anywhere I want to. It don't matter. Twist, whatever you want to do. Now, let's just say you went the other way. This one's the easy one because we're already in sky over here. Because the strong safety's up, he's not going to say anything. So now they shift and go the other way. He's in blue. When they go to trips, what's the weak safety? What did I do before when he went to trips? When he was in sky, sky, sky. Read and write. Scoot, scoot, scoot.
Is his depth the same, 8?
Yeah,
No,
8 to 10. Oh, him?
No, scoot guy.
Yeah, he'll
Strong
be
safety,
3 by
strong
10.
safety.
No, he doesn't. He's a sky player. Now, anytime you can have a shell look with scoot, I could play 3 deep if I wanted to with this. I could play man free with this if I wanted to. And we'll just pass him over. But that's the thing that we've got. So what we're ending up, just like slide, we're getting into 4-3 concepts, but keeping leverage like a 8-man front team does. Because we watched BYU try to play a 6-1 defense, play a 4-3, and they didn't get anybody up in Fresno. And those people 2 years ago, when everybody started doing this, were wearing them out. And then they came to our house and got 57 yards rushing. We beat them. Last year, what they did is they got in 3 tight ends, start shifting these guys and doing it all, creating 3-back sets. We still scooted to it, but and what we did is we took a corner out when they did all that and added an extra safety and kept everybody else up front and kept better leverage because we got better force players. And that went into overtime. We really should have beat them. We had them 19-10 with 6 minutes left to go in the game. Got beat 26-19. At their place. That's when our kids weren't. We were 1-3. We were 1-2 going into that ball game. Then we ended up 1-3. We started the freshman quarterback. That was his first start. He wasn't really good in front of 45,000 yelling at him. But in answer to your question about the wing, when you came over, if we were going to play scoop, we would play flip. So when you did this, the corners are over. Strong safety said scoop. Free safety. And the weak safety, you're either going to sky or banjo. We're either going to treat it like flip rules or turn it into zone. And what are you trying to do with it? If you're short routing us over here like boot and block it down and out, corner out, then we'll probably zone it. If you're trying to go vertical with your guys, then we'll probably banjo it. This over here doesn't matter. Plain blue coverage with the flip.
And that guy can still scoot in there even though he's playing blue?
Well, he only goes far enough that he can protect the B gap. He doesn't lose leverage out there. He's got to make sure he protects us from. He's got to make sure he protects us from the counter.
Gary, when the backers scoot or slide, it's just one technique.
Well, what basically it is, if they're a trips look, if it's like this, he'd probably be a 50 alignment. If you were in, they scooted to a trips look, then he'd probably be a 70 alignment. He'll be head up. And that's why it used to be when we played 4-2, we'd get a lot of this right here. Because of a 7, we get a lot of outside zone. Now we don't get that really anymore. because we'll still play what we play here, but now we get the scoop from the backside solo player, which is the same thing, overshift to tight end set. And now he's more of a 70 because we treat this like he's a back as far as the scooter slide rules. And now you can't block. It's the guy you can't.
Quick.
And then all the stuff we can do up front, that's what we want to do. But it's
You just leave the backside guy in that shape, never cross the center, just leave him in a shape.
G, yeah, either one of the two places. The biggest thing is I don't move this guy any closer than 7 to 8 yards. And this is the one Valancenti's took for the Packers because they have to play so much nickel stuff to this kind of stuff to play the pass, and they got to be able to gap control. And he's interested in still keeping a guy that he can come back and double, but he can play the backside B gap because that's all he's got to be able to defend is that.
Right.
He doesn't have to be at 4 yards to defend that. Now I can play that backside B gap and actually solo that guy at the same time.
Teach that Mike Backer there to be like a cylinder player, fast flow, with that safety in the backside because he's a shade player.
Well, he's
Technique-wise.
just like we did. He's a wrong shoulder. You know, we're running to it. If they like come back in speed option, solo players always pitch. There's your quarterback player. If ball goes this way, he just got to, just like in slide, he has got to be able to get to the A gap,
Right.
or you might as well not be playing it. You're still divided as far as your front is concerned. Basically, all this is what Texas Tech runs. Only they always play man free every snap of it.
That's a corner.
And that's really we got this kind of stuff was 5 years ago from John Goodman.
What's good for wind up
I don't know. He pulled his name out of the Oklahoma State job.
defensive coordinator?
Yeah, I don't think he has anything else besides that right now. They gave it to the guy from East
We're
Carolina.
doing okay. It was
That's
just halfway when we were.
what I heard the other
Tell you
day.
what.
He was the coordinator's job at Oklahoma State.
I thought their names, the other guy, Cole Cassidy was.
They might be Cole, but I know that they brought him in. He's getting a title to come in. Huxtable. Him and Cassidy are big partners. Now maybe he's just coming in as a linebacker coach. But
Who's
that
the
was,
pit name? Anybody ever hear? Oh, a guy from Iowa State or something? Who?
Tony Pierce.
Went to Wake Forest. Tony Pierce went to Wake Forest. Who's the pit name as defensive coordinator?
Guy from Iowa State.
yes.
That's what I
I
heard.
think it's. I have the name. I've got to see the face because he used to be at Utah State a long time ago as a GA. Paul. Can't think what Paul's last name is.
Okay.
Film.
Yeah,
No
so
film?
no sleeping when we turn the lights off. Can we video this?
Yeah, I don't see why not. We'll just point it at the screen.
I think that'd be good.
We don't have to watch very long, but at least you can see concepts. You want to see East Carolina or you want to see Hawaii?
Or